Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday to you. My name is Tim Harris. It is 10 o'clock and it is time for 10 with Tim. We took a week off. I do that in between Bible books, mostly so I can get ahead. I'm not smarter than anybody, but I can read ahead. So mostly what I try to do is get ahead, get a plan, and then come back and get ready to lead you guys through whatever we're going to do next. And what we're going to do next is the book of Ezekiel. I know. Some of you are thinking, what are we thinking? What is he thinking? Why are we doing the book of Ezekiel? I have lots of pastors, teachers, friends, who would say, you're crazy. Pastors don't typically preach to the book of Ezekiel. People die in the middle of the book. It's really hard to get through. It really, really is. Of all the books in the Bible, it is very unique. And some of the things that make it unique, I think, make it exciting. Remember, I'm an artist. I'm a painter. And so I like pictures. I'm visual. And part of the problem a lot of people have with the Bible is, there are really no pictures. You can go into the children's department of your bookstore and find a picture Bible, but the Bible that comes to us is just words, lots of words, no pictures. But Ezekiel, in many, many ways, is the picture book. Ezekiel sees visions. And the visions are the way that God communicates, and it's utterly fascinating. And I'm going to make you fall in love with the visions of Ezekiel. It's a picture book. Why does God communicate through pictures with Ezekiel? I think it's fairly obvious to say most of us remember what we see better than we remember what we hear. If you've ever taken a course or read a book or read an article on how to improve your memory, usually what they tell you to do is take whatever you're trying to remember and associate that with a picture, And so Ezekiel has visions and he communicates his prophecies, his messages, often in very visual ways. He's something of a performance artist. He will do things. He will strike poses and cause you to see something you're not soon going to forget. And you're probably going to be asking, what in the world is he doing? What in the world does that mean? And this is the way that God speaks through the prophet Ezekiel. So I like that. It is a visual book. It is the picture book of the Old Testament. And for that reason, I really like it. I like it because of who Ezekiel is. We don't know a whole lot about him. We know that he is prophesying around, year 600 BC. He is in that first wave of exiles. He is in that Babylonian exile, exiled into Mesopotamia. He's in that first wave. Now, in the very first verse, it's kind of like a title page. He gives you his dates and sort of the title of his book there. On July 31st, my 30th year, while I was with the Judean exiles beside the Kebar River in Babylon. He's just giving you all of the details, the specifics of where he is and what time it is. The heavens were opened and I saw visions of God. So understand, it's visual. I saw visions. There are numerous prophets in the Old Testament. Most of them bring us a word from the Lord. I heard the word of the Lord. The word of the Lord spoke, but for Ezekiel, he's going to see something. He's going to tell you what he sees. And again, I happen to love that. One of the small details, he dates everything by Jehoiakim's captivity. Jehoiakim was the king that the first round of exiles recognized. When the Babylonians conquered Judah, they installed a puppet king, Zedekiah, and the people, for the most part, never accepted Zedekiah. And so, for that reason, Ezekiel is still going to sort of go back to Jehoiakim. That's the king that he actually follows. So we know just very few things about Ezekiel, not a lot, because this isn't a portrait of the prophet. This is the word, the visions of the prophet. So we know that he's somewhere around 30 years old. We know that he is a priest, the son of a priest, which means that he is he's trained in the ritual, the ways of retaining ritual purity. And so Ezekiel is very unique in that he is going to remain set apart for service to God. He's a priest, the son of a priest. We know that he's married. We'll talk about that later. We know that some of his messages, his visions, he'll deliver right from his house. But mostly just understand his people are the defeated people, the exiled people, probably a few hundred right there in the Kebar River with him. Most days are filled with hard labor and homesickness, and they're not necessarily looking to hear a message from anybody, and yet God's hand is upon him. That's what we're told there in verse 3. God's hand is upon him. We use that language. I think in this case, it is a sign that God has a unique purpose for him, that God's going to protect him. But also, I think you just need to understand God's in charge of him. God's in charge of Ezekiel, and that's going to make a big difference. So here we go. Vision number 1. When people read Ezekiel chapter 1, some people say he saw a UFO. This strange, sort of, vehicle with wheels and wheels covered with eyes. People read that, wheels covered with eyes. They say, those are LED lights right there. It's lights. They see like that flying saucer from Lost in Space with a ring of lights at the bottom. And okay, forget all that. This is not, a UFO sighting, but it is a vision. And it's really pretty fantastic. I know. You're reading it and you're already thinking, oh my goodness, we're going to be doing this forever. I'm going to quit on Pastor Tim. No, don't you quit on me. We're going to stay with this. It's going to be good. So he sees this vision. At first, it's a storm cloud, like a tornado, this amazing storm cloud in the north with this blazing amber, fiery center, lightning flashing, and then these 4 living creatures, these 4 beasts, and man, they were weird, and of course they're weird. From other references in Scripture where this sort of being is described, we're talking about the cherubim, not like the little fat babies, in Rococo paintings, but we're talking about the cherubim. These are sort of beasts of burden that carry the chariot of the Lord. Now, it's not so much, don't get lost in the description of what they look like, because Ezekiel's mostly trying to help you understand what their function, and what's happening here, because what's happening is amazing. Now, they got 4 faces, like a lion, an ox, an eagle, a man, something like that. Again, don't get caught up in that. The lion, the ox, the eagle, the man, these are like the 4 most powerful creatures in their domain, the flying creatures, the human creature, all of these, these just, the different forms of created power, right, in creation. And so these 4 faces, again, don't worry about the 4 faces. All that means is they can see in all directions. They're not having to turn their head. They can see in all directions, and they can move in all directions. Now that's the thing. There, when you get a wheel inside a wheel, and you're thinking, what? Don't get caught up in that. Just understand this thing, this machine, this vehicle, this chariot of the Lord. It can move in all directions at all times. And it flashes like lightning. So it's moving fast and it goes in all directions. And just understand what we're talking about here. All right. And then it goes on, it describes the wheels inside the wheels. But again, it's omnidirectional. It can go in every direction. That's what he's telling us. And then spread out above them was the firmament, like the sky. Firmament, anytime you find that word in Scripture, it's just something spread out. And it often describes like the sky. And so this is like a platform for the very throne of God. And so then Ezekiel begins to see this throne of God, and he really doesn't see God so much as he sees like the form. He really just sees the blazing, fire of his holiness. And it's just so amazing. And then Ezekiel falls on his face, and then the voice starts to speak. And that's where we'll pick up tomorrow. What's happening? What are you thinking? Pastor Tim, what? You feel like you've seen a UFO, right? No, just understand the beauty of this. Ezekiel is in exile. They feel defeated. They feel far from home. Not only that, they feel far from God. These people aren't so sure. And if God wasn't able to rescue them back home, then what can he do for us now? These people have lost hope. These people have lost faith. These people aren't even sure that God knows where they are, But this is what Ezekiel sees right from the beginning. God is on the move. That's it. Chapter 1, the title, God is on the move. God is on the move. And God is moving fast, and God moves in all directions, and God sees in all directions, and God is on the move. Not just that, something is happening here, and it's happening here, among the exiles, where Ezekiel is, where the people are. They were defeated, they were deported, and they in all ways were discouraged. But I'm telling you, at the very same time, God knows where they are. God knows what time it is. God knows how to get there, and God is on the move. And this is what Ezekiel's saying. This is amazing. And it changes everything. So just right there, wherever you are, and you may be thinking you're far from God, and God doesn't know where you are, and God doesn't know what time it is, and God probably doesn't see you, and God doesn't know about your problems, and discouraged, deported, whatever you're feeling. I just want you to understand, God is on the move. God is on the move. He is on the move where you are. Something's about to happen where you are. And there's no place you'll ever go where God's presence, God's glory, God's power cannot reach you. And so Ezekiel falls on his face, and that's just the beginning. Now, tomorrow, I want us to read chapters 2 and 3. Chapter 2 is really short, and chapters 2 and 3 go together, and they are amazing. These are two of my favorite chapters, and I say that all the time, right? These are two of my favorite chapters in the Bible. I love the calling of the man of God. I guess as a minister, as one who feels called in the special way, I relate to this, but you're going to relate to it too. It is beautiful. So tomorrow, Ezekiel chapter 2, all the way through chapter 3, verse 27. You're going to love Ezekiel by the time this is over. Anyway, I love you. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for being with me. Read ahead, stay in the Word, and I'll see you in the morning, Lord willing, for 10 with Tim. I love you guys. Have a good Monday.